this beautiful day that you've given us today and for your many blessings in addition to that. We pray, Lord, that as we conduct this meeting tonight, that it will be honorable to you. We pray that we will make decisions that are correct and Christian, and we just pray that you will guide and direct our objectives here, that it'll be for the benefit of this county. We pray these things in thy name. Amen.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Question,
Oh, question?
are the HVAC, is that in our maintenance list? HVAC?
HVAC, I'm assuming so. I did not have anything to do with that item, so. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I've got a partial list. I've still not gotten everything back from Comfort Air. I'm meeting with them in the morning. Hopefully I'll have a final list from them. And I'll be happy to email it out.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The approval of the minutes from January 3rd. Do I have a motion? Got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I don't have anything to report. Mr. Mayor, do you have any report?
I do. I've been working on the maintenance list, trying to get it drilled down to make it a little easier. It's incomplete because we're waiting on Comfort Air. That's why you didn't get it. But you will, as soon as I get that complete from them, I'll be more than happy to send it out. But just to give you kind of a breakdown, the county administration building with the phone system, as well as the sheriff with the phone system, we're going to be coordinating that with the new Justice Center. So we haven't done anything on the phone system yet. Once we get everything settled with the Justice Center, then we'll move forward with that. The parking lot was on the list for the Sheriff's Department. I currently have the Road Superintendent Toby Ellis assessing every parking lot that belongs to the county to put together a plan on refurbishing all the parking lots, those that need it, restriping, and we'll have that ready for budget. So all of that will be fiscal 24. We don't have anything that's in dire need right now that needs to be addressed. As far as the jail internal pipe inspection, the bid is due on that February 16th. The kitchen floor at the jail, the bid is complete, and will be complete 2/9/23, and then we'll move forward with that project. The 30 by 50 storage shed, I spoke with Deputy Chief Craddock, and he has been able to secure a grant for that. So they will build that with the grant. The elevator, I'm going to meet with Captain Canner to scope that project and put together options. And then the roof on the jail, the request for qualifications for the architect was complete on 2/7, and we'll be choosing that, I believe, tomorrow. We'll be choosing that tomorrow to start that process. General sessions to replace those double doors, the mechanical doors on the roof that we had talked about. We're still working on a bid. Got a company coming out there to start that process and see where we are, if we need to do a sealed bid process or if we can just do it through do a single bid. EMS station number 7, we talked about that earlier tonight. The Westmoreland station needs renovation. It's functionally obsolete. That's something that I'd made mention to Chairman Show about possibly ARPA funds and relocating that EMS station to make it more functional and build it for our needs now. Let's see, the EMS Command Center out on Airport Road. We've awarded the contract and the PO has been issued on the roof. And that came in a little over $24,000. We will get that taken care of. They got us on a 2-week lead time. Hendersonville Health Department needs total renovation, but that's pending the decision on the new building, if y'all want to build a new health center or not. So we're waiting on that decision before we move on it. And then we're going to talk about moving voter registration. That's something that they've been working on since 2020. They partially moved in. They've been using it for training over the past couple of years. To build that out, it's going to cost about $190,000. We've got, if I remember correctly, it's about 275 machines coming in that we've got to find space for. They have to be secure per Homeland Security rules and have cameras on them at all times. So looking at that project, and that's an agenda item as well. Again, the maintenance, we've talked about building out that back section. And most of it we won't be able to do in-house, but we'll have to hire a company to do the door, hire a company to build out the bathroom. We're looking around $75,000. Obviously we may not hit that amount, but we'll certainly keep up with all the expenses, and what we don't spend we won't use. And most of that I can probably take out of my current building maintenance fund. Gallatin Library, they're preparing to bid for replacing the carpet. That's going to come out of the Gallatin Library budget, so that will not be a hit to our side. Sumner County Administration Building, the roof issues, that's something that we need to work on and start to get some type of prices so we can put it in FY24 capital projects. So we're going to need to work on that. Lawn care contract for the admin building, archives, rehab center, ECC, and courthouse. Bids due on that February 16th. And then the archives building, we're still working on that one. The HVAC units, we've identified right now, based on the report that I got from Comfort Group. They gave us a report on the year, model, and condition of the units, and we've got 37 units that are part of that R22 system that will need to be replaced. There are a couple of units in there that are not train units that are R22 that are in okay shape, and they can be modified to take the new refrigerant. So we're not advocating replacing those right now. Let's see. That covers everything on my report. Maintenance list we'll email out to you after the meeting tomorrow with Comfort Group. And tonight I'm going to ask you to formalize the transfer of the maintenance department so we can start to build out there and get them out of the basement. And then also the election commission to formalize that move so we can start the construction before the machines get here. And then also we've been working with the judges on the recovery court. When the new courthouse opens, recovery court will not have a home. So very successful program that the opioid money, a lot of that's going to be dedicated to, and it's a program that's well respected across the state. What we've done is, as children of people move out of that building right down the street from them, I would like to put them in that building and let them take it over. We can do a lease if we need to them for $1. or just house them in it. They're going to try to take care of all the renovations themselves, but they may come to us with a request for some renovation money. But as of right now, I'd like to get that space secured for them. And that would need a vote from General Operations Committee. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to tell you, I feel completely in the dark with the list that you just read off. And if I feel like I'm in the dark, I'm sure the rest of the members of General Ops do too.
It's been on the agenda in other forms, and I've transferred it to a spreadsheet that will make it very simple for you, and try to clean it up, and that's what I'll send out to you.
Okay.
But this isn't the first time you've seen these items,
Most-
well, except for the HVAC units.
Actually, I've seen some of those because I went and visited most of them last week. And I would ask that when you meet with Comfort Air tomorrow, that you ask for a service file on each of those units, because just because there are 22 does not mean they're defective. If they're leaking and having to be recharged, that's a different issue. But until they're leaking and losing pressure, they're fine. I don't know what the piping in the jail is about. I've been working on the roof of the jail too, and I've got something that we'll talk about when we get to that item. But if we're going to be expected to spend the public's money, we need to know what we're spending it on, and I don't feel like we have any of that right now. So, yeah, please get us that list as soon as possible.
Chairman, I believe the piping on the jail was something we discussed a couple months ago, because it was a annual or biannual mandatory inspection that we had already reviewed.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, please get us that list, because I'm very vague on any of this stuff. Okay, so next we have recognition of the public. We have Ron Blanton. Ron, please give your name and address.
Ron Blanton, 103 William Shire Drive in Hendersonville. I also honored and privileged to serve these citizens as General Sessions Judge, and also have Recovery Court as part of my responsibilities. Before I get into this transfer for Recovery Court, I just wanted to give the committee some numbers so that you know what we're talking about. And this is something that I will provide to the overall commission as we come forward in the next little bit. But recovery courts across the country are a formidable way of alternative sentencing when most people in this situation go to jail. These are for people that would not necessarily be in the criminal justice system had it not been for their addiction, and that leads to thefts and other crimes. And it's been proven that those graduates of recovery court have a recidivism rate much lower than the usual. For instance, the United States average for people that go through recovery courts, and this is going to seem a little bit high, but we just did this survey through Ball State. A professor out there, Kevin Cook, did this. He's our monitor of our recovery courts. The United States averages, they have a 76.6% recidivism rate. Tennessee, on the other hand, in our recovery courts have a 47.1% recidivism rate. Just to give you an idea of what we do in Sumner County, we are a model. We've been certified every year as a certified recovery court. We just went through a thorough inspection that was completed, I think it was March the 15th, or January the 15th, and on the 20th of January, we received our certificate of recertification for the next 4 years, and I attribute Tracy Bryant, who is our director of recovery court, has done a phenomenal job, she and her staff. In fact, when they went through our files, they found no deviations whatsoever across the board. We had no write-ups whatsoever. And I say that to preface this is that in Sumner County, people that enter our recovery court through General Sessions Court, they have a 5.8% recidivism rate. compared to the national average of 76.6. Those that come in through criminal court have a 16.5% recidivism rate, which is well below any recovery court that we could find in Tennessee, as well as probably one of the tops in the nation. So what does this mean? It saves taxpayers about $848,260 a year. And then the last 10 years, the recovery court has saved Sumner County $8 million due to the work of Ms. Bryant and her staff. They're phenomenal work there. What we're looking for tonight, and talking with Mayor Isabel, is a property located on Winchester Street that currently it's a county property that is being used by children or people. They built a new building and are going to be moving into it. We believe that they will be out sometime by the end of this month or maybe middle of March. Currently, we have recovery court in 3 different buildings. We have about 5 offices in the actual you wouldn't know it, but as you come into General Sessions Court, there's a little stairway. Come into my court, there's a little stairway that goes up. We have 2 offices there, and we have on the 3rd floor 2 more offices that the Sheriff's Department allows us to use. When we move into and then we have our meetings in my courtroom. We had one tonight, we'll have one tomorrow night for DUI court. But we have these meetings in our courtroom. Not sure if that's going to be feasible with the new courthouse. I'm not sure. The sheriffs has not told us whether or not they're going to have the personnel to staff it for the extra hours after court. Now where we just have one person that has to be there because it has direct access to my courtroom, I'm not sure that that's going to be the same in the new building. So we're having to get creative. We also have a building across the street that we use, and we also have a building, if you know where William Lambert's law office is, on the other side of the jail, we lease office space there. So we're leasing office space in 3 different spots. We would like to get them all in one location. The building on Winchester where children are people is the old school board building from years ago, and it has currently enough office space where we could get everybody under one roof with some additional room. Now that building has been modified, but in talking with Mayor Isabel and some of the engineering staff that has gone over and looked at it, mainly all the build out that they've used for offices for children or people are cosmetic. They can come down, they're not tied to the overall structure of the building. Now, we'll tell you that there's be some modifications that we'll have to do for entranceway for ADA and have an ADA bathroom. We realize that. However, all of recovery court is grant. It costs Sumner County citizens nothing. It's all passed through. It's not matching funds. These are all standalone grants, and they've been working on a grant for over 20 years on a 2-year or 1-year grant. So they're accustomed in this type of work environment to working on grants, and they realize the grant money's not there, their job goes away. So I'm not coming here advocating to add expenses to the county. How this will work is if we're allowed to move and consolidate, and we realize it's not going to be all at once, it's going to be over a period of time, but by the time we get to the new courthouse, that all the personnel could be in one building. We could also use our foundation has accessibility to grants and money. Recovery court, we have a grant writer that writes grants. And I say that because you're talking about personnel from time to time that may be on a grant and lose a grant. That grant writer knows that ahead of time and writes for new grants that are fully funded, that are passed through grants that doesn't cost the county a nickel. What we're asking for is use of this building. There's a house that's adjacent to it that's also owned by the county that has been empty for over 10 years. In fact, for the last 5 or 6 years, all the utilities are there. It is deteriorating to the point I'm surprised it's not been condemned. And what we plan to do, if it's approved by this committee and then the commission, is to eventually, through our foundation, get a grant to build a brand new housing facility for some of our recovery court participants, with the office being next door. And so that's what we're asking, is for this General Ops Committee to approve the moving of, or to allow recovery court, because it is a county entity. It comes under the umbrella of the county, but it's fully funded by outside sources. We would like to be able to move into that building and make the renovations. First, seeking through our grants that we're able to get. I understand that in meeting with some of the opioid money that's going to come in, it's going to be some of it set aside for housing and capital improvements. That's being checked now to make sure that that's true. So it would not cost the county a dime for us to do that. And that's why we're asking this. This is a building that's long been paid off years ago. We're just asking to move into that building and have adequate space. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. I should have said we're trying to keep it to 5 minutes.
Sorry.
No, it's great. Pat Collins, please state your name and address and try to keep it to 5 minutes.
I'm Pat Collins, Sumner County Election Commissioner. I live in District 22, Mr. Schultz's district. And I'm here about, this is the General Operations Committee. And Mr. Chairman, you spoke about not knowing after our county mayor talked about the different departments that are going on. In the past, I have asked the previous commissioners to come and visit the Election Commission office to fully understand what the operations of that department does. No one has ever visited us to see what's going on. The fact that many of the commissioners are new to this position, they need to go, in my recommendation, to go to each department. Because we're having issues financially with the budget committee, and I'm not going to really address that at all. It's important that a lot of people in commissions think that the election commission only works on off cycles. We work every day just like any other business. Our staff is there every day just like any other business in this building. And it's important to see, since so many people are being transplanted to Sumner County, to see exactly what's going on and to truly understand. And I think if you come to our department to see what's really going on, and you can come anytime, you can just drop in. And it will be explained to you, and you can see every piece of the operations that takes place on a daily basis. And because of things that are going on and the budget, then what's happening is we are in a red zone for a certain point if that budget does not take place. Our AOE, she's very conservative. An analogy would be if you like red meat, you like steak, you like to have the marmalade nice to a certain point and not a lot of fat. With Mrs. Ashley, what happens is you're not going to see any marmalade. That budget is tight. So when it comes to that, I guess it's come and see for yourselves. Do not take somebody else's word as to what happens in the election commission with one cycle when this past year we had 2 cycles. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. You'll make a point of being by Joanna Daniels.
I just have a quick question. I'm about to leave, but
Maybe that.
Joanna Dan is 152 North Shadow Haven Way, Hendersonville, Tennessee, 075.
Thank you.
The Gallatin carpet budget. What was it? Where? Yeah. Okay, I didn't understand what he said, so I was just trying to clarify to make sure that, to my knowledge, that was a county appointed money, and I just wanted to make sure because I didn't hear where it came from.
Yeah, I didn't
So that's why I just want to make sure, because I was checking, and according to my notes, it was approved by the county for the library, and this is a capital improvement project, and I just wanted to make sure that that's where it was put at, because I couldn't hear it.
Oh,
So I want to make sure.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. All right, with no other people on the list, we'll move on to old business. City of Gallatin's commitment to new courthouse parking garage and Smith Street improvements. I did speak with our representative at the county courthouse. for the new county courthouse. And he said at this moment in time, the developer Turner is getting all revised prices, which he believes will help us financially because they're probably going to go down. He expects to have those answers by March 1st on all the new pricing, and hopefully we'll be breaking ground sometime between March 1st and April 1st on the parking structure. So most of the hurdles have been done there. The city did agree to the increase or what they had originally promised to do. So at this point in time, we should be seeing that happen fairly soon. The administration building and archive building roofs.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
is there any action for us to do on this to get it off old business?
I don't believe so.
Is it just we can let it go?
Yeah, we can let it go. So the administration building still at this point has 2 active leaks that we're going to take care of soon. And the archive building, as of last Wednesday, has had no leaks since Commissioner Moss went up there with a roofer. And I am working with several siding crews to see about what it's going to cost to replace the siding inside the mansard roof. So at that, do we need to take a vote to drop these off of old business? Mr. Sittler, you know?
I always say better safe than sorry, so I would go ahead and do that.
Okay, can I entertain a motion to remove?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Say, oh, question?
Yeah, so are we coming back to these at some other point, just whenever we're ready to act on them?
Yeah, when we have actual prices or estimates that make sense so that we can determine whether they're under the $10,000 or under the $50,000 range for an architect, we will bring them back to the forefront. And I mean, obviously the parking structure is going to move ahead, and then the building roofs. When there's time or necessity to take action, we can. Commissioner Jones?
No, we have a motion and a second.
Okay. Okay. There's no other questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New business. There is a list of 3 items, and I did talk to Mr. Ellis about these. The 8-foot broom sweeper is one of those that he would call just worn out. They have replaced it some time ago before he was ever elected. And so it's just kind of been sitting around the yard, so they would like to get rid of it and sell it. Same with the flatbed truck. They replaced it some time ago, and it's just been sitting there. And the LeSabre was used by one of the
2 superintendents ago.
Yeah, 2 superintendents ago, and it's just been sitting in the yard, so they figured they would sell that one too. I'm not sure if is there action that we need to take on this?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay. Progress on the EMS building roof. Mr. Mayor, would you address that?
Yeah, at the command center, the contract's been awarded, PO's been issued, it's on a 2-week lead time with the company. Did the sealed bid process, and the winning bid came back 24,000.
Can you tell me how many bidders there were on it?
Just one.
Just one? Okay. All right.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Is that normal? I want to ask Mr. Mayor, but I guess I have to direct it towards you. Is that normal for it to be the one?
Is that
So I just want to learn a little more about the process. Is that a normal thing?
It just depends on the project, yeah.
Is it you can, or you don't always have to, or
We
how does
post
what's
it
the
on the
protocol?
website and we don't actively go after bidders, as I
So there's a
understand.
time frame and whoever bids on it. Gotcha. Okay.
Now, I was up on that roof today, and I went up with another roofer because I wanted to make sure that the spec was right. We did find a bullet hole in the roof right above where it was leaking, and he patched it because he could right there. It took him about 2 minutes. A bullet hole, yeah, and
How do you verify?
about 3/8 inch diameter. I just believed him on it. They said it was a bullet hole. So anyway, if we're, and this is a question maybe for the mayor, maybe for our attorney. If we're unhappy with only having one estimate, because this one is substantially more than the allotted money for it. We had 15,000 in there and this is 24.
Well, the 15,000's in all bid.
Okay. What is our, can we rebid it soliciting roofers? Commissioner Moss had a guy up on the archive roof who I'm talking to right now. He did a good job repairing. Is this something that we can go back and actively go after roofers and notify them and ask them to bid it?
If you wanna continue with it leaking, we've got rains coming in.
Well, like I said, we repaired the bullet hole.
I think it needs to be fixed. Money's in the budget, we need to fix it.
The main part is there only one leak?
Only one leak that I know of. Multiple leaks?
Was this the same facility where we had the
Once we
workplace
fix that,
accident?
we have to clean the drywall out too and repair the wall. Now, we'll do that internally, we didn't bid that.
Yeah. Well, we probably should make a motion. Anybody like to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to discuss.
Okay, motion to discuss, second?
Second.
Okay.
So you're saying one major hole that was found is fixed.
Mhm.
Mr. Mayor's saying that multiple leaks. Were you not aware of the other leaks?
I am not. I've spoken to Dale Allen, who's, I was told was the go-to guy, and steel roofs are interesting because they leak, they don't leak.
They travel, the water travels.
And the water can travel, and depending on the wind, the angle of the rain, they can leak. I'm not saying that it doesn't need help, and is old enough that the seams that were caulked could and should be caulked again. And some of the fasteners, what I looked at in the pictures I took up there, the fasteners, the rubber washers are gone. So
My point asking and wanting to open a discussion was just, I'm tired of kicking leaks down the road. I really am. I'm sure a lot of us are.
yes,
But from 15,000 to 24,000 is significant, and I understand it's an older bid. How much older is the bid? Can I ask
I don't know.
Mr. Mayor that question?
And the 15,000 was just an estimate to get it on the Gen Ops committee back in 22. It never was bid.
Okay.
So 15,000 is just a number. Somebody said, okay, let's start here.
Is there a quicker procedure to get a second opinion if it comes in at it's at least 20,000? Then we know we're in line, and we give it to the guy that did the
Well, the
Seal
roofer I
bid.
had up there today was going to give us an estimate.
just a rough estimate. Even I mean,
I don't know if that's legal.
yeah, I don't know if it is either. That's why I'm wondering if there's something else we can do to just to make sure that it is in line, since we only got one bid.
There's a question of legality, Mr. Sittler.
Yeah, I'll have to check. Usually the bidding process is very formatted, and if you're not happy, can you solicit after the fact? I don't know the answer.
He earned it for being the guy that answered the call, when we put the bid out. I get that.
Okay, well, perhaps we should wait on.
And understand, this was a sealed bid. This guy bid it to be competitive. He didn't know he was the only bidder, so it wasn't like he was saying, okay, I can jack it up because I'm the only bidder. He bidded this thing to win that contract. So at some point, we've got to fix the water leak. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
as I
sir.
explained in that email, this issue is about a 3 to 4 week old issue. I don't know how quick you expect to get things fixed, but I thought that was pretty quick.
Now is because I took it upon myself to go ahead and do the bid and fix it.
yes, without any of us knowing about it. So,
Well, that's because the money's in the budget and it's my responsibility to do it.
Do we know the name of the company that bid the roof?
I don't.
I don't have that with me.
And this is just my opinion, but I am part of this committee, and I think it's irresponsible to just not have more than one, if we can, legally, if we can, not to have more than one estimate on fixing it. If you can, I mean, we're spending the taxpayers' money, and I think we should be very responsible and very fiscally responsible as we can with someone else's money.
What you said is really good. I agree with that. I think if we had multiple bids to compare, just to kind of piggyback off Commissioner Miller, we had several, you know, 2 or 3 bids to at least compare. Commissioner Miller made some good points. This is taxpayer money. I agree with her. I think if there is some way legally we can get multiple bids, because like you said, this was not an issue that was known. So
Yeah.
the sky's not falling.
Right.
We're not getting a monsoon. So everything's gonna be okay for a couple more weeks or whatever it takes to get multiple bids if we're legally able to do that. And that's my opinion as part of this committee, and I will support that if that's the way you wanna move.
I don't know who was first.
I'll let him speak first, because I've already spoken, but I do want to speak. Go ahead.
Would this not go to budget next for the appropriation
The
approval?
the money's already in the budget. It's already been appropriated,
The full amount?
the full amount, everything's in the budget.
So we wouldn't have
The
to.
PO's been issued, legal has reviewed the contract, the contract's been signed. Fix the roof and stop the leak.
I am concerned about a lot of, we heard from EMS group and the condition of facilities, the environment that we're providing for our employees of the county. You know, we did have a slip and fall. You know, David, I know we've talked, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I know we've talked about this one. It's been 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm glad we're on this one pretty quick. My concern is that we're continuing to just push things out. And so an inaction tonight means that this is a whole nother month before we're gonna even look at this, talk about it again. So that's another month that, is there multiple leaks? Is the one leak that was the bullet hole that got patched, did it even fix it? Did we test it? Do we know? Is the roof still leaking there? I think there's a lot that we don't really know, but we do know we need to fix the roof. And I think we owe it to the employees of the county to create a work environment that's conducive for them to actually work and be safe in.
I agree with everything he just said, but we also owe it to the taxpayers to do the due diligence to make sure that the process is being done the best we can. And if there's only one bid comes in, only one bid comes in. I wonder if we could hear a little bit more about the bid process, the length of time that it's put out there, what website it's put on, to make us feel better about we did the best we could do. This is what it's going to cost. Can somebody speak to that? Would that be you or Mr. Sidler, or about the process and the
Yeah,
website?
there is somebody here who can speak to that. Commissioner Schoaf?
This is y'all's floor. I hesitate to weigh in. I'm just saying, and, you know, I'm the guy over here trying to pinch every penny we can. I don't think $9,000 for the roof is gonna break us between the 15,000 and the 24. Ideally, we would've gotten a different, multiple bids in there. There is a point at which the probability of more damage coming through or waiting is going to outweigh the action taken now. That's opinion, not here to tell y'all what to do. I'm just pointing out that, this isn't gonna make or break, I don't think, anything we're looking at.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I think most of us are almost here. I just want to hear more about the process for bidding. Is it a 2-week process? Is it on the government website, puts it out?
We have one more question and then we'll address that.
Well, that was my question, so.
Yeah, well, we will address
Okay.
it after.
I always look at it from this point of view, and these are all great points, but we don't know who the sealed bidder was. Commissioner Miller tried to find that information out. Worst case scenario, what if this is a fly-by-night? Not saying he is or she is this company. There's a fly-by-night and we get more damage as a result of poor workmanship. I would rather go into it if we legally can to say we did our due diligence in comparing 2-3 estimates to see who supplied the best warranty, the best workmanship. Again, I understand it's only, like Chairman Chill said, it's only $9,000, but at the end of the day, it is taxpayer money.
Well,
too.
fortunately, we have the person who bids everything. Ms. Norfleet, could you address the bidding process? This is an educational moment for us.
So we have requests for proposals that are run through the county purchasing through finance department, posted on the county website. We typically have a 10-day, 2-week. They're normally advertised on the county website on Thursdays and in the paper in Gallatin and Hendersonville papers. And in this instance, we did have additional scope. That's the difference. The original bid only included 2 pipe boots, and they recommended that we replace all 20 approximately. So that was the difference in pretty much the cost difference.
Okay. And the specification is derived how?
Typically, the county will write it. We'll sometimes get an estimate. We did have another firm look at it, but they did not bid on it. That's what we're seeing in this market right now is you're sometimes only getting one bid because everybody's so busy. I did email it to to that contractor that had looked at it, but they didn't bid on it. So there was opportunity for more than one to bid it, and they did not.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
It does. As much as I hate to hear it, 20 extra vent pipe boots costing $9,000 sounds ridiculous, but I think that we've done as fair as we can do with the process that we created. So, I mean, I think Commissioner Shope is right. We don't need to let perfection get in the way of progress on this one. We need to fix it while we can.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You were in there as well. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a suggestion without objection? If one person objects, that's fine, but in consideration of our election people and our judge is sitting here, could we handle H and then G and go back to these other things?
Yes, so they can get home to their family.
I want to speak to H too.
Okay. So H first.
Yeah.
And G. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, so item H, approving transfer of recovery court in Sumner County to 117 East Winchester. Judge Blanton already spoke to it.
I'd like to make one point if I could. Sure. I have something that I will be bringing forward sometime in the relatively near future having to do with financial management and the finance department. I did not know, and I apologize, Judge, I did not know that you were going to beat me here for this property on Winchester Street, which I'm very familiar with, having been in the school system. If you could, if the committee could see fit, I would really like to hold this for just 1 month and let me work on this a little bit more. It would be something that I think would benefit the county financially and otherwise, and I'd like to hold on this a month.
I would as well. And the reason I would like to hold on it is because I have no idea what's involved in renovating it. I haven't seen a plan.
I don't know a great deal about it either, but I have all the confidence in the world in Judge Flanton. I think he's probably one of the hardest working judges we've had in a long time, and I appreciate him very, very much. And I'm sure he would cut every corner possible to do those things. It's just that there may be other options available, but I had my eye on this piece of property, and until I can do a little bit more in my thinking process, I'd like to hold on this if we could for at least 1 month, 30 days, 1 month.
I'll make a motion.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will move that out 1 month. Okay, item G, approving transfer of election commission to 1019 Union School Road. As I understand it, there's already some election equipment in there and personnel working.
Well, they do training, and they can probably speak to it better than I, but they've been using that building. And we had talked about this previously. They've been using that middle section, and they want to start using the front section as well, and then we'll move maintenance to the back section.
The state had been in the front section here before. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
And we're moving
make
out.
a motion with this,
Yeah.
open this up for discussion.
Sure. That was,
So moved. Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so, continue, Mr. Mayor.
Well, that's what we had discussed in the past.
Right.
And we're just trying to get it formalized. I thought that it was formalized by the previous GenOps committee. Unfortunately, it was not. And so we just need to formalize it for the vote.
My problem is making a vote on it. I don't even know what we're voting on except to move in there. We don't know what the impact is. We don't know. Not that this is the budget committee, because it's not, but if we understood what the renovation would take in both the front section, I'm familiar with the building, as you know, I've been over there several times, but I just don't know what the scope is. And
Yeah, and the budget, in all fairness, I was taken to the budget committee with the outline of that. I figured the scope within general ops was to approve them to move, and budget to approve the process of paying for it. And so that was the process I was following. That's why I don't really have budget numbers for you. I do have them, but I don't have them with me.
yeah, I'm not as concerned about the costs as much as I am about what needs to be done. I know there's a high-level security system that you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, we've got, and correct me if I'm wrong, 275 machines, new machines that come in, I believe in April. And we've got to provide secure location for those. And that's going to involve building out a secure spot within that building that will have cameras. It's going to be 8-foot walls, 2 double doors on each side for entry. And then to save money, we're going to just put fencing across the top. That way we don't have to bring in heat and air for it. So that'll save some money. But that'll have to be bid out. And then the other stuff is, we'll build out a counter for them at the front to deal with customers. And then the rest of it is mostly network drops, phone system, and miscellaneous things with the move. We'll have to have a truck carrying stuff over. We'll use trustees as much as possible to save on those costs. But that's just a synopsis of it.
Commissioner Jones, did you have a question?
No, so I'd like to hear more about it.
I don't feel like I have enough information where I can even make a decision. I mean, I don't know if, make a motion to push it back a month so we can get more information.
I mean, that's why I didn't have a question, because I don't know enough about it. I want to hear more about it. This is like, I didn't know enough about this.
Awesome.
Commissioner Wynn?
So it's, we're getting, may I ask the mayor a question?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so we're getting these voting machines in April. Do we know 1st of April, mid-April, end of April?
March.
It's in March. Okay. No later than April. My apologies.
So
Well, we're working with Sherrick first.
Okay, so that's okay.
essentially next month, and we're getting voting machines we got to secure.
We've got to put somewhere.
Do we have any other space available
That is secure.
that we can secure them in?
Not really. The space that they had in the basement, I don't think it's going to be enough for them. The way that they're laid out, and I don't think that's going to be enough.
Is there any secure space at the EMS building? That's a huge building with very few people working in it.
No, it's going to be difficult to secure those in any other building. Yeah.
Commissioner Jones, you had a question?
Yeah, how long have we known that this is sneaking up on us, or has it been sneaking up on us that we've got these 275 machines coming, that we're trying to make a decision on building something for them a month before it's due? How long have we known about this?
Well, in all fairness, I thought General Ops previous had approved this. So I've been operating under that assumption.
The previous commission?
Previous commission. And just here
They don't have
recently, I
meetings.
found out they had not approved. It was basically, it was an agreement that the mayor, the chairman made. And we were moving based on that. Same thing with the budget. They had asked for the budget money, and unfortunately, it was not approved, and they didn't know that. And so, money that we had,
I think they knew.
which, listen, they cut my budget and didn't tell me either, so I understand. But these are things that just came to light just now, and that's why I put them on the agenda at the first available opportunity, because we do need to formalize it, and that way we can finish it up.
Mr. Chairman, did you have a question?
I did. I appreciate the member of the election commission inviting us to tour the office, and I certainly want to be the first one to say I want to tour. I've always felt like I was not glassed in, but glassed out anytime I came to the voting office. And I understand the health standards and all, but it's certainly didn't give you a welcome feeling to go tour and go on the other side of the glass. But in any event, I'm like Commissioner Miller. I don't know where this came from. I've never heard of this. And I mean, dumb me, I guess I missed it. It went over my head or something. But are we talking about machines? Or are we talking about some people, one person? only machine storage? Is that what we're talking about? Or, and I guess there's too much here to discuss tonight. I would really like to have someone thoroughly draw up something, show where it's going to be. Is this the old Union High School?
The TRC building, the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center, right between the health department and the Bob Barker.
Okay, I understand. I understand exactly what you're talking about. And there's nothing else in that building at this time?
Well, at this time, the state of Tennessee is occupying it, but they're vacating it now as we speak.
Okay.
They've used it, and had it since 2001 as a training center, in connection with the state and the county. And you might know more about that than I do, but at that point, the county owned the land. The county built the building to their specifications.
Yes, I was
They
on the
leased it
commission.
for $165,000 plus a year, but then the county forgave that back to the state. And with COVID and everything, they just weren't using it anymore, so it was vacant, it was vacant basically, except for two state employees. So the prior mayor knew about it. They were signing 5-year leases at a time. The lease was coming up this year, right now. They normally negotiated the lease a year before, so we started on this actually, per Mr. Isabel's statement, back in 2020. And we began using the facility in 2021.
Well, whatever we do or wherever we go with these machines, and the judge is not here now, but this brings to mind, I didn't know about this piece of property either, but this is another possibility of what I have in mind with something. But
I guess the issue, Mr. Hyde, is these machines are coming, they're ordered.
we need a secure place for our machines.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
No land security is already.
Yeah.
They have to be in
Right, there are always choices. I understand what you're saying. There's,
I'm not saying this is the only one, I'm just saying we have to have a place to put these machines.
yes, and I will be the first one to say, in light of things going on in our country today, we need to assure every voter in Sumner County that our machines are secure and safely stored.
Yes, sir.
So I'm with you on that, but I draw a blank on anything that's being discussed here tonight, and I'd like to hear more, really, more detail, maybe written out, drawn out, showing us what is.
We've got it all drawn out. So when we were originally told we were gonna have the building, we were gonna have this entire building.
You were told you were going to have this entire building?
Yes, sir. Anthony Holt.
Well,
Anthony Holt. So we were gonna take the back section that now Mr. Isabel is proposing that the maintenance go into, that was gonna be the machine room. So there were gonna be no major alterations other than just securing that room. We could use everything else pretty much as it was, very minimal expense. Now that maintenance is going in there, we have to be completely separated from them, completely separate. There are 2 large HVAC units in the middle section that condensate, they leak. We can't put the machines under those. We lost the back section if maintenance goes in there, so we don't have any choice but to build this room. And this room added at a minimum, about $135,000 to the cost to secure the machines within that room. They have to be stored there, under camera there, programmed there, verified there, sealed there. The county commission, 3 of my members are here, locked and sealed, sent out on election day, come back. They have to be secure at all times. So that's what caused this expense that we didn't anticipate to build this room. But the layout is basically, I know Mr. Klein's familiar with the building, but you go in, it's an office front, you open the doors, go in the back, it's a warehouse middle, and then there's a back section to that. So if maintenance is going that back section, we don't have a choice but to build that room. And that was not an anticipated cost.
Well, and I understand there is I'm sorry, I wasn't very, I understand there's got to be a secure room that is maintenance free as far as leaks and that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, I don't, at this point, I don't think I have enough information, if it came to the floor of the commission. I'm just an ex officio member of this committee. But I don't think I have enough information to vote for this at this time because there may be even other options of other buildings available. And it appears almost like this General Operations Committee has just been cut out of the picture.
Well, Mr. Isabel's research.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. We're learning a lot about this right now, and that's not the proper place. I think a presentation needs to be made because we've still got questions here about what's on the table now. I would like to hear Ms. Ashley's proposal and plans and all that, but I just think it's not the right setting for it right now. But we're still blindsided and have questions about other things, not that.
I agree. We'll take Mr. Wynn's question. And
Sure, then I have one after that. Go ahead.
These machines, once they're delivered, can they be moved at all?
These, the new machines, because the reason that we're getting new machines is the legislation change required us to have a 2024 paper audit trail. So these machines are about double in size and double in weight of our prior machines. These are actually on wheels, like you would wheel a suitcase through the airport, so we can stack them vertically.
Let me rephrase that. Not physically move, but like once they're delivered and they're secured,
Yes.
can we move them to another secure location at a later date?
We could, if you know, that we'd have to have the same camera system, eyes on 24/7, that kind of thing. They have to be secured at all times.
And locked.
And locked.
So,
I'm done.
go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
You know, I'm right there with you guys. I think that we need more information, but I also understand too, it seems like we have an issue that we need to solve for in the near term. Not the whole thing, but let's just take the one small bite. What are we gonna do with the machines? And yeah, I would like to make a motion just to set up a
There's
temporary
already a motion on the floor.
secure location, whether it be at this address or another address, just so we have a place to land when they get here.
I still got a question on the main motion. So we've learned a lot in the discussion right now that the current tenant's not even out of the building yet. So we're rushing because machines are coming. What if they're not coming? Can we tell whoever's sending to pause? Push the pause button. No, we just handled a major crisis if so. Machines are no longer coming because we don't have a place for them yet because the previous tenant, first of all, is not out of the building and we haven't started construction on the new secure location. So why can we not push the pause button on the machines that are coming and have them stay where they're at?
Machines are under contract, kind of what you all were talking about earlier, letting the bids and things like that. So they're under contract and the county's obligated to take them when they're ready.
But they can be postponed.
I do not believe so.
Delivery cannot be postponed.
No, this is a huge order. I don't think there's, the manufacturer would have room to keep that many machines at their facility until we.
What happens if there's, can I ask a question? What happens if the secure location that is required is not ready? Then I would think they would be liable for sending them to a place that's not secure.
That's not correct. It's our responsibility as the county to house.
They would send, I understand it's our responsibility, but you're saying they would send them to my garage if we don't have a place for them.
No, I'm not saying they would send them to your garage, but we have a contract with them, so we would be in violation of the contract. You can confirm that with me.
That's what I wanted you to say. So if we're in violation, what happens if we're in violation? Is there a fine, is there a penalty? What is it?
I would assume it would be a lawsuit for whatever damages they incurred.
For having to store them for us?
They don't have the facility to store them. These are being made to order. When I say that, they're all the same machine, but they're made by number per county.
I would like to hear more about the timeline of when they're coming versus when the tenant is getting out of the building, because like I said, we
Let me just
can't.
reiterate, there's only 2 state employees left there. They are substantially out of the building. I mean, all of their operations are gone. The tables, the chairs, the desks, everything is gone that they're taking. They've just got 2 women there until they are going the facility right across from Freedom Church. That's where they're locating to, and they're predominantly already there. So it's not a matter of them not getting out, it's 2 employees.
So if construction started today, What, Mr. Ryan?
Okay, what if we give them the back part, we take the middle part? That way you can put your machines in the back.
But we can't be separated. You all couldn't do maintenance operations in the middle with us doing offices in the front and the machines in the back. That wouldn't work. And we use the middle section for training all throughout the elections for over 400 poll workers.
Call the question. The motion is to postpone a month for more information. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody. Back to the Sumner County Jail. Okay, I handed out a packet to everybody. And I'm sorry, you got the black and white copies. And the first sheet is markings by the head of maintenance at the jail, Jonathan Fowler. And he showed where all the leaks are. He mapped this on this GPS map. Yes, yes. So they're hard to see, and I can email everybody the colored version, and I will. So from that, the roofing contractor that I got up on the roof, he took the 3 heaviest areas, and he gave me prices on each one of them. Now, area 1 is about a $9,600 fee for the roof that's on the facility right now is EPDM. The manufacturer of EPDM has come up with a thing that they can spray on. It's the same material. They spray it on 80 mils, which is about the thickness of the original roof. It shrinks down to 60, and in general, there's a 20-year guarantee on it. So if we took the 3 heaviest areas and used this wetsuit, is what they call it, on it, we would spend $9,600, $17,200, and $15,400. And he said he would also, if he were awarded the contract, he would also include any small leaks that are on the rest of the roof. So that's the main part of the roof. The tower has got a problem in that it's about a 15-foot wide rectangular roofing area, and it's leaking pretty badly right now. And he is in the process of finalizing he's in the process of finalizing all of his research with the manufacturer, and he sent me a text a couple hours ago and gave me what he thought would be the estimate for it. He said that, sorry for the delay, folks. He said that he could do a repair job because part of the roofing, existing roofing, is lifted away, and then there's some problems on the edge. He said he could do a short-term fix if we wanted it for under $10,000. He said to replace that entire roof would cost in the $250,000 range, probably. Now, the original monies that were allocated for that roof was to replace the whole thing for $1.475 million. So what I would entertain, if anybody wanted to make the motion, is to have him come in and do the first section, which is under 10,000, which would not require a bidding process. We could look at the success of the roofing, inspect it, and if we liked what we saw, then we could do the rest of the roof. The main roof would be another $35,000 or $40,000. And then when he gets a final answer on the proposal, he could give Miss Norfleet the specification, and we could put that out to bid as we could the other two areas, and see if we could get it done for substantially less than what was originally told to us a year or two ago. I don't know how long ago that 1.475 million was.
Quick question for you. The 1.475, is that a different roofing company than what you're showing us today? Oh, open, motion to open for discussion.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. The answer to that question is, I don't know who came up with the specification for the 1.475 million. Mr. Mayor, do you have any idea?
No. The previous administration, I don't know.
Okay.
I would be working from zero.
I did talk to our financial director today, and he did say that that money's still been allotted to do that. I'm just, as you know, the constant theme here is let's pinch every penny we can. And so that's why I've taken the time to do this. And I think we can save a ton of money over what we originally thought we would spend if we did that. So we would have to get an architect involved in the tower, but as far as the other ones, the other, we can do the one without going through the bidding process, and you do the other two for less than 50,000. We could bid that out without an architect, Mr. Jones.
So this Neptune wetsuit, is this fairly new technology or?
Well, EPD, the company that makes EPDM has been around for 50 years, and they have roofs that have never failed in 50 years. But because leaks do develop, you can puncture the roof. They came up with this system. It's fairly recent, and I'm not sure. You have to be certified by the company in order to apply it.
Are you considering, is your proposal considering using this on all the roofs or just on three small ones?
Only where we need it. And right now, the three spots that Jonathan Fowler, the maintenance man, head over at the jail, we talked about this and he said, yes, I believe that would get us done. There are a few other small leaks. And like I said, if we had the contractor I had up there do that for less than 10,000, he said he'd take care of any of those other small leaks at his own cost.
And the large roof, that was the 475,000. That's the total.
Yeah, that's to do the entire thing.
Okay. Everything.
The entire lower roof. Not the tower is a whole different animal and not part of this.
Okay.
These
Did you have
quotes.
a quote? Did you have a quote on the tower?
That's what I'm trying to get.
And that's the one you're talking about putting out to the bid process because it's bigger.
Yeah, and we'd probably need to incorporate an architect as well.
It would not be this wetsuit.
It's
not
no, because they recently replaced the EPDM down below. It's only the tower. And what's happened is EPDM shrinks and it's pulled up the sheet metal that is on the edge of each, and it's allowed water to get in. Plus, it's broken adhesion in different spots. So he's talking to the manufacturers to see what can be done, and so that's where we're at.
I like the idea on the surface. My only concern is with this fairly new wetsuit technology, how many other people could bid the process, and are we kind of locking ourselves into having a guy that we have to call for that?
That's a good question.
It's a great workaround and a cost saver. I like it. If personally, I would probably do something like that. But with our wanting to be transparent with everything and how many other people could do that, we've questioned everything else. So I'm gonna be fair about bidding process for other people that could do the same thing, because it seems like really good answer possibly.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing as well.
I'm sorry, is he offering a 20-year warranty, like this $9,600 plus figure, would he give you a 20?
He's working on that right now.
Okay.
He's working and he's trying to see if the company will warrant just a section for 20 years. And I hope to have that answer tomorrow or the next day.
And only other thing I have more, it says in here, we recommend a moisture survey to determine if there's any moisture. Do you have any idea, or could he offer any idea how much that survey might cost?
Meaning under the product? Like before
No,
there's insulation.
For the existing roof surface,
Yeah, you have a deck and then you have a foam insulation, and then you have the EPDM on top of it. The foam, if it's been exposed to moisture too long, can deteriorate. They would have to cut it back and put in new foam. We didn't experience any of that walking on the roof, and we walked on the worst parts, but that's a potential. So I can find out about the analysis equipment and what that would take. Okay.
and then one-way vents, they say they'll install them for 150. I've seen this, I used to inspect properties, realtors, when they're saying 150, is that materials and installation, or is that just an installation cost per one-way vent?
Oh, I didn't even
I would just be
notice
curious
it. Okay, venting. I'll get an answer on that. So anyway, that's my presentation of the roof. We can vote to postpone. We don't have to take any action on it at all.
How long has this roof been leaking?
This roof has been leaking for several years. And I don't know how many years, but I know it's at least 2.
Are we ready to make a decision on this? You like a vote to
The only thing,
proceed with fixing it or postpone, or
the only thing that I would think would be a worthy thing to do is, if we're comfortable with it, to do the one section, because that's a simple thing to do.
Is that where the leaks are?
Go ahead.
Is that where the worst leaks are in this one?
It's one of the 3 spots that have the worst leaks. Yeah.
I'll make a motion for that.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Hold on. The reason why I was asking was because it sounds like you jotted down, or I watched you jot down some questions that were asked that we need to get some answers to on this system. And I was going to make a proposal that maybe we could be ready to vote to do that maybe next week, if most of us are going to be at the budget and committee on committees type things, that we could do a quick emergency meeting to do that vote with those answers questions. Is that something appropriate that I don't want to wait till next month.
Yeah, I don't either.
It sounds like we're really close, so I want to get those answers and get it done. Is that appropriate to?
I think that's a great idea. I'd definitely be open for an emergency meeting if you guys.
And most of us come to all those meetings anyway, and I just thought, you know,
at the very most, we're all going to be at a commission meeting, so we could do it 2 weeks from now, but I'd be happy to do it next.
I would like to get it on.
Y'all just voted on you just voted yes, several of y'all voted yes on a roof that's been leaking for 2 or 3 weeks, with not knowing who the contractor was, not knowing the amount. So I don't know why you have a problem with something that's been leaking for years, fixing a section.
It was just about the material and the product.
Yeah, and I can find that out tomorrow.
We'd be locking ourselves in.
And I can
If
send
they
it.
said it was a very common product that's used all the time and everybody's got it, then I'd be like, yeah.
It's probably
That's
the
why I'm
most.
ready to do it quickly.
It's probably the most common flat roof out there right now. There's EPDM and there's TPO. So.
I'm talking about spray product. The question, if I got that answered, I'd be ready to vote on that too.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of this material you're talking about, these companies do research for, and I don't know about this, but from my experience, they'll do extensive research for years to develop a system like you've got, you're presenting here before they put it out there.
Commissioner Wynn?
A second. Thank you.
What's the motion?
$9,000, let's give it a shot, you know,
Okay.
for the one spot.
Okay. There's no questions on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Passes. Could we go to, oh, we are going to the ADA transition plan next, so these guys have been really patient.
Good evening. My name is Jack Potter, architect with World HFR Design. And some of these out. Actually, we've been working on this for a couple of years. And just finally able to come to you. In fact, so many years that I'm now retired. I've been called back in special to talk to you about this, so I get called back in to do a few other things too. Just first of all, just to let you know, this is what your report looks like. Double-sided, lots of pages, almost 500 pages. No. That doesn't mean that. And let me say at the outset, and I've done this for multiple counties across the state. You're no better, no worse. So let me just say that everybody's got issues. So don't take that as oh my gosh. Yeah. How do we? Oh, you going to control it for me, Kim? All right. So first, let me say the reason you have to have a transition plan is that some of your funding comes through TDOT. And TDOT has a mandate from the feds that you meet accessibility standards and have a transition plan. So that's, in essence, you'll need to, once approved, file this with the state Department of Transportation that you have a plan. So let's talk a little bit about, we're looking at the 2010 ADA standards. To some extent, some of your older buildings might have complied with the old 1991. And if it actually fully complied then, it would be considered compliant today. We're going to have a quick overview, priorities, and next steps. We looked at 67 locations. And then also, county engineering did a review of the trails and sidewalks within your right-of-ways. And let me say, that is where you have your biggest amount of cost to fix. Of those 67 locations, 34 facilities need to comply with Title II of the ADA. And then 33 facilities have been determined not to have the public actually use. And so those programs are not required to comply. And then I did look at, you have in the county, one existing signalized intersection with crosswalks that the state put in for you, and it's a total failure. I defy anyone to push the button to get it to activate because you have to climb over the guardrail to get to the button. And there are no sidewalks at all at that intersection. It's right near Beach High School, elementary school. We put together some estimates. We've also looked at projecting what it might cost in the future. And we need to be starting to look at priorities now. Next again, please. So your site and facility priorities, your signage, both on the exterior and interior, needs to be updated in most of your facilities to meet the ADA standard. Now, a lot of your interior signage could be executed by your maintenance department by putting a good program in and doing a little bit at a time, over time. Door lever hardware, a lot of, this door's been modified, and that's what we mean by door handle. So that somebody who has a disability can open the door handle. So there are a lot of the buildings that needs to be done. Again, that can be done by maintenance over a period of time. You need to make sure you have access to the facility. And such as the little museum, pardon me, it's been so long since I looked at this specifically. I couldn't tell you the exact location until I looked it up. But you can see, in order to get to the older part of the house, you have to go up steps. So trying to figure out a way that will not destroy the historic amount needs to be looked at to provide accessibility to those areas. Interest doors, then access to certain activities. Accessible toilets, you've got a bunch of old toilets around that are really pretty bad in some of the buildings. So you need to be looking at how can we address those and fix some of those as we go along. We looked at your sports and playground areas and need to be looking at participant and observer access, because a lot of in some cases, the playground areas are just out in the middle of the grass, and can somebody in a wheelchair get out to the playground area and utilize it? And then also, the other item is playground equipment fall safety. So we also tried to put together some self-help and design guidance that's in the back. About 10 pages that your maintenance department can use as a guideline of how to address some of these issues, such as signage, some of the access, accessible parking. And that's one thing in terms of the highway department needs to be looking at what the standard is for parking to make sure that you get, when you upgrade your parking lots, that you're making proper improvements for the accessible parking. And again, this is some self-help, so it's not necessarily that all of it has to come out as a contract. And then looking at accessible toilets, and then the playground access and fall safety. Now, one of the ways to address some of this is that you know that you have a problem, and that when you go to remodel a facility or upgrade the facility, that you ensure that you put a list of items that you want to go ahead and make sure that you get all the upgrades done. Whether it's an in-house project or whether it's a contracted and design project. Now, before everybody falls over in a dead faint, I'm going to read two numbers. That is today's numbers. Budget. Get to my summary.
You only got 500 pages.
That's right. It's been a while since I looked at it. What I'm going to call as the architectural and general site, in today's dollars, it's about almost $5 million. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying you go appropriate $5 million. That is not the purpose of this, is to let you know what the scope and the issues are so that you can be addressing them. And also, so when somebody comes up and says, hey, you have a problem here, you can say, oh God, yeah, we know, and we're looking at trying to do something with that on the long term. Now, your driveways, I'm sorry, your sidewalks, And this is an estimate that your engineering department came up with. I want to say it was something, it's, let me find it. It's quite a bit of money. You have a question for me?
No, sir, I'm just getting the queue. I want to be questioned when you're done. Finish your presentation.
Okay, no problem. Well, anyway, I can't remember exactly what that number is. I think it's $200-something million.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, if you may, you said 200 and something?
I think it is. Now, and now, when I say that, you know, you can go and look at it in bits and pieces of these. You take a look at what the worst conditions are, and go try to fix those. The general requirement, as I understand it, Jim might be able to clarify, is when you do a major repaving job and working on the curbs, that's when the sidewalks are mandated to be up there. That's my understanding from it. Though you've got a couple locations that you probably need to look at to do some repair work because it's a tripping hazard, not just, I mean, let me just give one example. One example is on one of the streets, the sidewalk's only 2.5 feet wide, which is, that's what I say. Now, that was put in, I don't know when, and probably put in by the.
Yeah, I've seen them.
So, yeah. That's
okay.
And when I say what you adopt, you and the commission, is you're adopting the plan and knowing that you have issues. You're not adopting any specific money.
Okay. All right. First question.
I had to be first. This is going to seem like it's coming across rude, but it's not. It's just a total place of ignorance. Did we hire him? Is this just a proposed thing or something we have to do before there's penalties put forth? I'm not understanding the context of the presentation, and I would take it differently if I understood the context of the presentation.
He's been working on it for 2 years. So.
Right, we were placed under contract.
From the previous administration.
Yes,
they
sir.
asked you to do it, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Like I say, I've done about 6 or 7 other counties or governmental agencies.
So you're telling us areas that need to work on and giving us numbers, but as far as suggestions on how to fix things like toilets, I mean, toilet or access to the toilet, because there's some real nitpicky little things in this study that.
This is an overview because if you go to a very specific, you could probably quadruple what our fee was, and you could ask a couple other entities about that.
What was the fee?
I can't remember, Jim.
65,000. Some other entities spent over 200,000 on this plan.
2 or 3 years ago, we paid that to find out where we were in compliance.
It's required under federal law to have an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan.
Every so many years or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just a requirement. Under federal law, there's a requirement to have an ADA self-evaluation.
Well, yes, which ends up being also TDOT. Theoretically, you shouldn't be able to get any TDOT grants or money unless you have this plan in place.
And we've never done it in our existence ever?
Not that I know of.
Commissioner Rogers, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I just want to ask the consultant a question because I'm actually, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So you're saying that the sidewalks that are in our right of ways is the bulk of $200 and something million? And I can't get over that because our recent approval zoning requirements that we adopted from Williamson County, I think, require these sidewalks to be put at our roadways. So I'm finding it hard to believe that we would require a sidewalk in a new subdivision
And not making it.
and not even that, knowing that it's gonna cost us some $200 million later. It's something we definitely need to take to planning, and look at that, because that's ridiculous.
Ms. Norton may be able to answer this question. When I was talking to Mr. Sutton, he told me about a fix we had to do in my district where the sidewalks were undersized. Now, adjacent to that, there were no sidewalks and we didn't have to put any in. But the ones that were too narrow, we had to increase them.
Secured over $1 million to fix a portion of the sidewalk.
Could we not just rip them out?
We'll take them out and then put them back.
Well, what if we just took them out and didn't replace them?
We have to, because our planning codes require us to have sidewalks and subdivisions in our county. And I've never understood that, and it's always been a question of mine, and I'm not trying to take over the meeting at all.
No.
And 200, I mean.
Yeah, that's sticker shock.
Hold on a minute. When we have this is stupid. Our own regulations are costing us 200 million. And I'm not trying to be funny, guys. This is dumb. We are hamstringing our own self by our own rules and regulations from another county. A sidewalk in Bethpage is never going to connect to a sidewalk in Portland. Can we undo the sidewalk clause and save our county 200 million? That's all.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's possible. Mr. Chairman.
First of all, let me say that Jack Potter is a very stellar person in what he does. I had business with him in the school system, and he's an okay person. This is not okay, but you're an okay person.
Let me say, the county engineering department did the analysis of the sidewalks.
Okay, I have several questions.
Yes, sir.
What was the driving force to have this study done? And I don't believe there is a law. If there is a law, I want to see it. Now, it may be that we have to have it to apply for grants, but is there a law out there somewhere? And can you give me a copy of it that says we have to do this every so often?
Look at Title II of the ADA. That's where the requirement actually comes from.
So every county, Cannon County, Decatur County, Chester County.
Every municipal, also City of Gallatin had to have one.
And this was not being driven by grants at all.
Being pushed and driven by the Department of Transportation, TDOT.
For what purpose? What grant?
Any grant, anything that has any federal money at all tied to it, it goes back to that requirement. Is my understanding.
For roads and sidewalks.
For any grant that TDOT issues.
Okay.
Because TDOT will issue grants that also are not just for roads and sidewalks.
Now, I have one other question. How liable are we if we adopt a plan such as this, saying that we have sidewalks, $200 million worth, that are faulty, roads that are crosswalks faulty, and heaven forbid, I'd hope no one would fall in a commode, but commodes faulty. How liable are we to be sued by someone if we are admitting in black and white, folks, this is
Legal as well as other, but my understanding is you may be in more liability for trying to say you have no problems without a plan that acknowledges that you have an issue. Yeah, that's,
So we have to approve this.
You have to accept that he made the evaluation.
you're approving that you have a transition plan that says, we got some problems, we're gonna fix them sometime in the future. That future may be 30 years, maybe 50 years. And the state has been accepting those dates, because I've been sending, the counties that we gave them to have sent it in. Now, when you talk about the sidewalk, and I'll go back to more specific in terms of what one of the major issues is. And quite frankly, this is a major issue at probably 80% of all accessible parking spaces in the country. And that is that the slopes are too great where the parking is. They want it almost absolutely flat.
Right.
And on a sidewalk, they don't want more than a quarter-inch slope in the thing, and a lot of them have a little bit more. So that's why I say, it's not disaster. It's not in compliance.
Right.
So I wanted to clarify a little more than to say that you're gonna automatically go out and replace every sidewalk.
Right.
Now, there's some where you've had some grays and stuff because of freestyle that you ought to go take a look at and say, hey, this one's truly dangerous, which is totally different.
And this will be my final question, but why, the ADA has been in effect, I think, since George Bush Senior. Why were we getting to this just now? Was this a driving force to apply for something, or?
It was through TDOT. Every municipality across the state of Tennessee was required to do.
But how did we get away with it?
What do you mean?
This is about 40, 30 years. How did we?
If I understand correctly, the state stuck their head in the ground in the sand too. But it's been, if I'm not mistaken, it's been about the last 8 years that they've been pushing this, and they keep moving the end date.
Further away or closer?
Yeah, no, further away. The original end date that I was aware of was 2020.
Yeah. Okay, you've got, okay, Commissioner Wynn? I'll get you in a minute.
So, and this might be a question for our law director. Just because we don't know about something doesn't mean that an ADA violation or lawsuit can't happen. We wouldn't be liable for it. I'd be curious to know what an average ADA lawsuit would cost the county for, let's throw the sidewalks out, but just like, door handles or something like that, stuff that we can plan to fix over a period of time, such as been pointed out. And then also too, by adopting this, you're saying it's just a strategic plan to say, okay, we know these, and at some point in the future, we'll address it.
You should be putting some money into the budget each year in maintenance that you're specifically going to. And it's not a specific amount, it's just to say, hey.
And it could be changing out door handles for 5 doors a year, and we're actually making progress on that plan.
And you look at which doors where the public's gonna use a lot.
Yeah.
And you make, and those are the strategic things that you try to do.
Okay.
You are a little bit, when I say you, I'm talking about governmental agencies, I believe are a little bit more protected than the average public on ADA. If somebody, they have the opportunity to file a complaint to the county, and the county can then have the opportunity to address the problem without necessarily creating a lawsuit. That's what I understand, and that's really what the plan talks about.
Another question.
Okay.
Was this provided, and we just got this tonight, was that in our packet that we received, or I don't know? Can we get a copy of everything?
Do we own this now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so.
Yes, sir. And I've sent
Is it electronic?
Some of the Word, I've sent some of the Word documents and some of the PDFs and some of the spreadsheets so that you can do your own updates. This is all yours.
Yeah, you're just an architect consultant making the recommendations, I get it.
Part of the plan, we had to have priorities of how you're working towards meeting some of the ADA compliance issues. And with the new courthouse construction, we are addressing many of those issues that we have in the court. And then, like I mentioned, we received a $1.2 million grant through the federal COVID monies to replace sidewalks on 4 different roads. So we'll just slowly but surely start looking at what the priorities are and replace. The last 2 fiscal years, last fiscal year, we appropriated $150,000, which we used $128,000 of that to match the federal grant. And then this fiscal year, we have $150,000 in the budget for ADA improvements.
All right, I think, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just make a motion just to adopt it. We can still discuss after that, but let's make progress towards a decision.
Okay. We have to adopt the study. Is that what all we're trying to do here?
Can I get some clarification here, just based on everything you said? I believe what you're saying is, today, we're drawing a line in the sand, and we're saying we're gonna make work on in the future with this ADA, these procedures, the plan, address things as they come up. That's the whole intent of this whole policy, is to move forward. And there's no way we can limit liability. So we don't know who's gonna sue us for what. Our only recourse at this point in time is to say, hey, we're aware of it, we adopted it, we're moving forward. That's all we're getting out of this. Okay, thanks.
As an aside, I built and owned a motel in Southern California, and we did everything exactly to specifications by the county. They had standards that you had to follow. Somebody tripped, broke their knee, and sued us for $15,001. We did everything right, and it still didn't matter. Commissioner Show.
One question first. Thank you for this. I'm sure it's very thorough. Are you talking, when you say that this is a prerequisite, having a plan to adopt is a prerequisite for TDOT funding, are you talking about TDOT funding for parks and recreation, or talking about TDOT funding writ large? I think we've got 1.2 billion that's going to be encumbered here. If you've got TDOT funding for 386.
If it is a county project, and my understanding is based on your request for a county project, not for a specific state project. It's not related to that.
They need funds that somebody else gets through the highway department, those could be in jeopardy if you didn't have them.
Okay, got it. That's helpful. So then that leads me to my second. So I just want to get this right. If we don't say that if we don't effectively, at some point in the future, encumber ourselves with $200 million of funds, TDOT say, we're going to take your funding away. Is that what this is?
We're not making any commitments.
As long as you're showing a good faith effort to make improvements here as you go. That's not
Then why put the dollar figure on it?
That's one of the criteria in terms of putting up what's considered a transition plan. It gives you an idea of as things come up. You may decide that you're talking about one of the buildings that actually has got quite a few issues. The old Board of Education building. Well, there are several items in there. If you remodel that building and fix it, then that goes away.
It just, I'll sit down and shut up, but it feels to me like a gun to our head you want X, you will comply with Y, and here's what X is gonna cost you over some period of time. That's how I interpret it.
I would add, TDOT has a gun to their head. So, I mean, it's, the gun's being passed down, unfortunately.
I'll get you next time.
I feel like this is like the third or fourth item on this list that we've been blindsided with, that we knew nothing about and we had no information on. I know Mr. Nguyen made a motion. I did not hear a second. I don't know. There's going to be a second. I guess we need to figure that out first, but I can't vote on this without more information. I mean, okay.
I'm gonna make the motion, since we don't have a second on Commissioner Wins. We've got that, we paid for that, right? We own it right now. At any point in the future where we see we are being leveraged to accept that, we can accept that at that point in time. I move we do nothing with it. We've got it, and just shelve it for now. We don't have to make a decision on this tonight.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. It's quite thorough.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. Okay, item E, maintenance list. Okay, we have a motion to discuss, seconded by Commissioner Schmidt. Mr. Mayor, is the maintenance list what you gave some of us? Okay. Could I have order in the room, please? Oh. All in favor of discussion? Aye. Opposed? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
That was a list that was already discussed, and as soon as I meet with comfort group, I'll be able to complete the email to you.
All right, great.
I may, well, first of all, another thing that I don't have any information on the list. And I make a motion to push this to next month as well, since we don't have all the information we need.
Second. Any discussion on the motion?
I don't think we even have to vote on that. He said he's gonna email it to us.
Right.
So it's automatically gonna come up if you put it on the agenda, right? Is that correct?
It's all new business. It should,
We
gotta
should
do
follow
something with it.
business if we do no action on it. But
Yeah.
It's got a second. All right.
Any discussion on the motion?
one item that I'll throw out there before we take a vote on delaying this another month is I'm really concerned about the chiller in this building and the lead time for that. And we have continued now, I think it's the third month that we've known about this, and we keep pushing it back. And it's a 1 to 2 year lead time. I really feel like if we can just take action on the one thing, let's at least do that, because we know it's at least a year. And then what's going to happen when it goes out for this building?
Well, I think we're still waiting on a price from Comfort Group on that chiller, aren't we? We're not waiting anymore? So we have a price on it?
No, they're not putting together prices.
Oh, they're not?
I'll
Okay.
talk to them in the morning about it. I just got year and condition, so we can put together a plan and work from there.
Okay, I thought they said at that meeting that they were, okay, I must have been mistaken.
Mr. Chairman, what I would like to do is just push that, hey, we need to replace the chiller, go to budget, and let's figure it out from there. We'll get the pricing and the plan to pay for it after that, because we know we're going to have it. We know it's a 1 to 2 year lead time. Can you please clarify that?
And we,
The chiller in this building, explain, I'm trying to catch up.
So we've talked about, I think, almost at every meeting, well, several meetings, we talked about the chiller in this building, and it's the air exchange.
Yeah. Is it bad yet though, or is it somewhere?
No, we got the report from,
It's at end of life. We don't know when it's gonna go out. The problem is that it's, what Comfort Group said, it's about a year lead time. So if we wait for it to go out, then we got issues.
12 months, yeah.
We've got $100,000 in the budget for heat and air now, to replace units. I would
We
like,
have no idea what that thing costs. We don't know if it's covered or not.
Have we got a motion to discuss this item?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. But I wanted to continue with my question, if that's okay. Or actually, you were in the middle of talking. I interrupted you. Go ahead. I have a question, but you may know more about it than anybody, so that's why I asked.
No, my main concern is just a lot of these air conditioned units too. I was sitting on some project calls for work, and just a regular AC unit is 31 weeks out. 31 weeks just for an AC unit. And then this is a year plus. And I just feel like we're keep delaying. We're only tacking on that 12-month cycle. 12 months, we just keep pushing it out. And, you know, I really feel like we need to make a decision on at least that one piece. We can push the other 37, 38 AC units, whatever, for a separate discussion, but let's at least address that and make a decision as to, do we want to replace it, yes or no? If the answer is yes, then let's push it to budget and let's move forward.
No, we're just discussing still, so.
So what's the payment plan on that? I mean, when you order one, what do you have to do? Say, hey, we want one, put us in line, and how much money do you have to give them? I mean, you know.
Yeah, because we have no idea on price.
Hang on.
Sorry, Kim.
Yeah, Tim's got the floor.
Sorry, Kim.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Talk, you have some.
Sorry.
The question I have, if it's okay if I ask Mr. Mayor a question, I know typically you wait for something to break, and the reason why we're considering this so much is because of the lead time on if and when it does break. We're at end of life, you say, but end of life on something that's 20 years has a, 5-year flex or 3-year flex or whatever, could go at any time or could last this much longer. Has the question been asked to Comfort Group of what would happen if it broke tonight, middle of the night? What would happen with that unit?
it would break, it would go out, we would put it on the agenda next month for you to discuss. And then, if you approve it then, we'll order it, we'll have a year out.
Yeah, I didn't mean procedurally, on our procedure. I'm asking, would they be able to Band-Aid fix it for saying, okay, this is the last repair it can take. It is now in need of replacement because this patch we just did is only going to last 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. This patch could last 3 more years, but you really need to fix it. I want to know the doomsday clock that keeps being brought up, if it is a real thing or if it is just another patch we may have to do, and then we do get serious about it and fix it within the year or year and a half timeline that it takes to replace it. Has that question been asked? Okay,
It was my understanding just from our previous conversation that there wasn't a fix. It was when it goes out, it's done.
That's my understanding too, but I would not swear to it.
I just
so
know
I'll ask
from,
it again.
I know from industrial maintenance point of view, when something breaks and it's unfixable, there's always a fix for a temporary patch. Just from working on industrial equipment for so long, it may not be the right thing, it may not be the most efficient thing, but there's always something you can do to get it through. The length of time is what worries me because of the supply chain issues. So I want to know, in their worst case, what kind of a patch would it, and how long it would last. And if they do say no amount of patching can fix this ever because it's like Swiss cheese or whatever, then I would maybe be moved to vote with you on that.
Okay, so any more discussion on
Is there a motion on the floor yet?
Yes.
What is the motion?
to push it to next month.
Have we got a second on that?
Yes.
I second it, because at this point, we need more information.
I'm fine with the discussion because Mr. Mayor's gonna provide us with an answer to from the comfort group on that question. So I'm fine with that, and I'm done with discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Say no.
Okay, I'm gonna make a suggestion here that since we have not made a decision on the election commission, that perhaps we cannot make a decision on the maintenance department.
I was gonna suggest that, Mr. Chairman, that we wait 1 month, just like on the other.
I make a motion.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I make a final motion for adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.